Dakota's trash queen of glam, geek, and gore. And here I am once again in the lovely Champagne Rooms Productions branch office. Surprise live. I was watching Dion's live while I was cleaning because the last time we did makeup here, we did that gold leaf look for Pride, and there was gold leaf flecks everywhere. So we were doing a little bit of cleaning and organizing. I've expanded my Blend Bunny collection out to 3 drawers because it was with the big blends update and the psilocybin collection. There was too much stuff for 2 drawers. So Blend Bunny is officially now a 3-drawer brand. So very excited about that. And so I was like, you know what? I was watching Dion's live while I was cleaning, and then it got done. And I put on some music, but then I was like, you know what? Hello, Dion, how you doing? Yeah, I was just talking about how I was watching your live, and then I got done, and I was like, I'm not ready to go home quite yet. I've got some things I want to do here. And I'm getting ready for a filming day on Saturday with Angie. And I figured we could talk about some of the things that we're going to do. And I have to decide how to do my face because I've got a couple of things off to the side here that are kind of looking at me accusingly because I have not used them yet. And so I thought I would, hello, Mama Champagne. So I thought I would bring it to the council. I would bring it to the committee here in live chat and see what people thought about potential looks, because that look, I want you to like it because you're going to see it in quite a few videos. So I figured, you know what? Let's go ahead and have a chitty chat and see what people think. So yeah, so trying to get some organizing and cleaning and stuff done here in the makeup area. I keep chipping away at it little by little, baby steps. It's all fine. I do sometimes want to film like an office tour to show you my little office space. And so I want to get it a little bit more. It's always going to be a little bit of chaos. So if you eventually are going to watch that, just prepare yourselves now that there is going to be chaos. But I hope to have it a little bit more slightly controlled chaos. So we shall see how that goes. Also, can we talk about this hair? Can we talk about the fact? I mean, I love the way that it's fading. I like this color, but I do feel like this Arctic Fox, I'm not impressed with it. I feel like this pink, and I don't know if it's just this color. I would maybe try another Arctic Fox color. But I've had this on so I redid this on Sunday so that I would have my pink, the darker pink, again for when Dion and I did our dual live. Check that out on Dion's channel if you haven't seen it already. But when we painted our Pride looks, I redid this Sunday night so that it would be nice and bright pink. Today's Thursday. Look at how light it's gotten. I mean, that's 4 days. How is it? Hello, Janet. How's it going? How is it this late already? So I'm not too impressed with Arctic Fox. I've got about one more application left in the tube. I like Lime Crime. Lime Crime is a jar. Hello, Alex. How's it going? But Arctic Fox, the one that I bought anyway, is in a tube, and I've got one more. So I was like, you know what? We'll just let this fade a little bit more. We'll do one more application because I'm getting fairly close to when I'm going to need a haircut again. So I was like, you know what? With the rate that it's fading, let's let it fade for a few more days. Maybe this upcoming weekend, I will try to redo it again. And then by the time it fades down to a point where I want to get rid of it, maybe I'll do a haircut. And then that'll be it. I don't know when I'm gonna rebleach it, so I may have like very pale pink blonde for a while. But any macho peeps here? I don't know what macho peeps are. We don't attract a lot of macho peeps, but there's no T in macho, just so you know. Hello, Paul Coleman. That really doesn't last well at all. Yeah, it's not very impressive. Hello, Grace. How's it going? I am not a fan of motorcycles. Volume inconsistencies. I don't know. Anybody else having volume issues with this? Let me know. Everybody's saying hello, hello. We love that. You're having it too. What kind of volume inconsistencies? Let me kind of move it on the little thing to see if maybe it's covering up like a spot where the speaker is. It did one like circle at the beginning. So it started and then did that like buffering thing for a second. Favorite movies. So oh, did CJ pop in and I missed her? There you are, CJ. Hello. Hello, hello. Favorite movies. I am so my voice is fading in and out. That's weird. So my favorite movies are All About Eve and Gentlemen Prefer Blondes and Young Adult are probably my top three. I'm a big fan. My favorite horror movie is Sleepaway Camp. My favorite horror franchise is Friday the 13th. So yeah, so that's what's going on. We're not going to be doing much butcher realness today. We're talking about makeup and stuff like that. But so the first question that I want to put to the group is, since I have a filming day, I have to paint a face. And like I said, you're going to see this face in several videos because we try to record a lot in one day. And I've got two looks that are kind of pre-planned out that I know I want to film. Get ratchet with me's, and so I usually paint my face and I record using that janky webcam before Angie gets here. And so I want to, so for that, I was like, well, I want to do one of these two looks. So the first option number one, is we have the Barbie Glam Light collection, right? Because I have the new Barbie palette, which is this beautiful berry pink beauty. I also have the original Barbie palette from Glamlight, and I have all of the face products. I have the lip kits. I have the lip kits from the previous Barbie collection. So we got a lot of Glamlight Barbie that we can play with. And I do have the Bratz collection from Glamlight. So I may, in that video, even film some comparisons of like Barbie to Bratz just to see what we think about that. So that is option number one, is really getting in and playing with the Glamlight Barbie products. The other option that I had already kind of planned out is doing kind of a summer look, a summery beauty look, using the new palette and collection from Trixie Cosmetics, which is Trixie Air. It looks like a little passport holder, and then you open it up, and these are the colors. And so I was thinking of doing a very bright, kind of tropical-y sort of look using this palette here. That collection also came with a blush, which is the shade Golden Hour, which is this beautiful peachy, slightly coral with maybe some golden reflect kind of shimmer blush. And then it also has, I've got so many Trixie things in here. There's a gloss. Where did the gloss go? Where did I put the gloss? I have a bunch of other Trixie stuff too that I could play with. Oh, I put it down here. So then we have a Trixie. Is this content where I just like, oh, you just have to go, Chisel. Okay, let's get rid of you before we go too farther into this. King Trump, please get help. You're in a cult. Let's go ahead and do that. Yes, so this is the gloss, which is a beautiful orangey, peachy gloss, very similar. Which is the shade So Fly. And so we have some Trixie products. I have some other Trixie products that I haven't used yet. I've got other summer beauty, like recent releases. I've got a couple things like from Morphe. This is one of the new blush trios. I've got a new Morphe bronzer that I picked up. I've got some other kind of Morphe products that we could play with. And so those are kind of my two options. So option one is going a little bit more pinky, softer, girly kind of look and do the Barbie collection from Glamlight. Or do we want to do more of like the summery, tropical, Trixie Cosmetics sort of look? What are we thinking? What are our thoughts? What are our thoughts? Is this content? Yeah, I do. That's my favorite. I'm always, because I'm so easily distracted that then I have to remind myself, like, is this content like just having people watch the side of your head while you look at your makeup drawer? It's like, is it? I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I get what you're saying, Dion. I see that you removed that, but I smell what you're stepping in. Yes, so stating the obvious, Sherlock. Yeah. So what do we think? Are we thinking Barbie? Are we thinking summer? What are our thoughts? What are our feelings? Option one, you can vote in the chat. There's a little bit of time, so replay crew, we know you rock. So if you leave your vote down below, if it's before Saturday, I will get a chance to see it. And you can tell me number one, do you want more of like a Barbie Bratz kind of thing? Or option number two, do you want Trixie Air summer glam kind of beauty? So we got one vote from Janet for Trixie. Some people watch lives of people. That's true. That is true. Got a couple for CJ. Or it's funny, CJ. I start to see it. This is why I'm always like going a million miles a minute and I get confused. And so Dion said, it's funny, CJ. I do enjoy it. It gives me a little internal giggle too. Two votes for Trixie. I mean, we might be voting for CJ too. I don't know what we're voting for, but if CJ were to do something that needs votes, you'd have our votes, CJ. But yeah, so either we've got a couple votes for Trixie. So that may be the one. That was the one I was kind of leaning towards because it's a little bit more summer appropriate. And can we believe it's almost fucking July? I mean, I will do both of. That's a good point, Dion. I will do both of them at some point. But I'm just trying to decide which one to do for this Saturday. And I think Trixie might be better because it's almost July, which I cannot believe. And this is more of like a summer appropriate look. Maybe I'll even use my Pat McGrath foundation, which is so orange that I just it's very Malibu Barbie bordering on the tangerine twat kind of orange. Like it's not great. And so maybe we'll do like a sun kissed. I'll do the California like nude lip. We'll do something. You can't make me choose. 50-50. Yeah. I could do half a face and do both of it. I think though, since that's going to show up in a lot of videos, that would be something where if I wiped my make off and filmed a second one, so I could just like not have it in a bunch of other videos because we are doing other videos. George Hamilton meets Trixie. It's very that. It's very, very that. Yeah, but we're going to be filming some content. We're going to be filming some toy content. We're going to start on some content where Angie is also a weird toy collector like me, and she has a lot of. She's been a like collector slash hoarder, relatable content for a long time. Like a lot of my stuff that I had when I was a kid, I kind of grew out of it and then decided like I didn't care or whatever. And a lot of it got passed down to like younger relatives. I had some cousins, and then when my brother had kids. And then some of it just got thrown out, or some of it got donated, or whatever, because I had no interest. I was like, whatever. And then now in my 40s, I'm rebuying my entire childhood. So if I had been a little bit more thoughtful, but Angie has a whole bin of like a lot of it is like McDonald's and fast food toys. And so we're going to do a couple videos opening Angie's toy box and looking at some of those. Like there's some really interesting like McDonald's and Burger King and Hardee's. There are some Barbies. So this is a Barbie that I have. And actually I filmed an intro. This is another look that has to go in the lineup for Get Ratchet With Me's, but I decided I was going to do a Get Ratchet With Me inspired by this Barbie because I found this on eBay for $5. And so I was buying some other stuff at one point, and I filmed the intro ages ago, but I just haven't gotten around to doing the look. And it was still in the package, and I couldn't really see, like, they just took a picture of this package. They didn't show what the doll was. And I was like, well, that's kind of almost like a mystery. So I was like, well, I'll just order this. It's $5 plus a couple bucks for shipping. And so I was like, so I filmed an intro where I opened this to reveal what it is, and I'm going to do a look inspired by this. So it's very like kind of neutral. I think I'm going to use the Trixie Hollywood palette, the one she did with Brittany Broski, because it's very peach brown, so very neutrally kind of look, but I can throw in this pop of like kind of a turquoisey blue and teal. And so I think that that could be really fun. So I decided we're gonna. So I have this, but she has a ton of these Barbies. The like McDonald's toys. She's got Fraggles. She's got Berenstain Bears. I mean, some really interesting. If you are into 80s toys, we're gonna have probably a two-part with the like loose toys or whatever. One of them's gonna be the more like the stuff that everybody knows, like Barbie, some of that kind of stuff. And then the second version will be she's got some weird toys in there too. And then we might even do a part three because she's got this bag of these like charms that I remember. So we might do a whole video just on the charms. And so that's a little bit more specialist for the toy people, but we're going to start filming some of that kind of stuff. I wish I still had my hundreds of Beanie Babies and Barbies. Beanie Babies. I had a few of those. Those were ones I got rid of. I got caught in the craze and was not really that interested, but everybody had them, so I had to have them. So mine got decluttered along. I'm also bad, and I was bad for the Beanie Baby hobby because I don't like tags on things. And the Beanie Babies were only like worth money if you kept the little tag on. And I hate things that have the little like plastic thing with the hang tag on it. I hate it. I hate it. Very cool, CJ. I don't see what CJ said because they erased it. I have a set of, oh, so maybe you're re-saying it here. I have a set of Oz dolls that are by Madame Alexander and are phenomenal for how, yeah, I remember they used to do much better, more interesting toys. And especially the girls' toys. Like, I don't, there's something, and maybe it's just that, like, and I get like obviously we're in a place that's very queer coded and very like open, non-binary, open to all this stuff. So like the concept of like boys' toys and girls' toys, we know that's a construct. We know we're here, right? But we're just going to use the sort of like the way that they would categorize them at the business. But like with the boys' toys, give somebody a like 99-cent Matchbox or something and they're happy, like all that kind of stuff. The girls' toys were often more like intricate and some of them were much higher quality, like those little Madame Alexander dolls that would happen. And sometimes they did really impressive kind of Happy Meal toys and stuff. Yeah. The IP Monster High dolls nowadays are absolutely killer. Oh, IP Monster High dolls. Like intellectual property, like Monster High, the like series are better now. I wish those were around back in the day. I have Alex, you're gonna love that because at some point, again, it's always like trying to schedule and figure out when we're gonna do it. But I have a pretty big collection of Monster High as well. I got into that for a while and I got into it. I forget which generation it was because I think it was maybe like generation three. Because I feel like, from what I've heard, I've tried to watch some videos and I couldn't always follow it. I couldn't always follow them. But like my understanding was that Monster High 1 was like really big. And then there was maybe like version 2, which was like, people didn't like, so they quickly moved on to like version 3. And then number 4, everybody hated because they tried to redo version 3, but like the faces were different and people just hated it. Now they've got this new, I think is generation 5 or version 5. And now it's like they're doing the Barbie thing where they're doing lots of different body types and like messing around with that kind of stuff, which is kind of cool. So I think all of mine are, unless I'm getting messed up about the the generations. Maybe I'm adding an extra one in, so these might be generation 2. I don't really know, but I'll before we do the video, I'll do a little bit of research. I'm not ready for that now because they're in like bins in my basement and my garage, so I'm gonna have to bring a bunch over here. You will see a little preview because Angie did get me the next Barbie video that I do, or like doll video that I do, is going to be it's going to have some Barbies and it's going to have a Monster High because it's my celebrity and character dolls. So any dolls that are dolls of celebrities or of characters like Charlie's Angels, things like that. That's gonna be like a Barbie slash doll video that's coming up. And I do have a character of Monster High, well, a celebrity and a character because it's Elvira. So Cassandra Peterson, who created the character of Elvira, I have an Elvira Monster High doll that Angie gave me as a gift. The Wednesday ones, yeah, the Wednesday ones look really fun. I haven't gotten really deep into like the offshoot dolls, but there are some that look really good. The creature from the Black Lagoon looks so good. There's a new 2-pack that is like the 2 women from the Beetlejuice waiting room. The one who's chopped in half, like the doll is in 2 pieces, and there's like a little cardboard couch that she's on in the package. Looks so good. The Pennywise I think is really cool. I think they did the Shining twins, which I love. Uh, is it a show? If you're talking about Wednesday, that's the one based on Wednesday Adam that's on Netflix. For Monster High, there were some movies, and they probably still make them, but like the generation of dolls that I was collecting, the movies were actually really good. They did one that was a musical that actually had fairly good music, I'm embarrassed to say. It's called Welcome to Boo York. They had lots of puns. If you like puns, you like the Monster High because there's lots of puns, but they call you Toralei. It should be Toralaya. Sorry. That is a little vocal stem that stays in my brain forever. They had a Corpse Bride and Beetlejuice. Yep, those go for a ton of money on Mercari. Elvira Monster High. Yeah, and they've had several Monster High. So this is like I think they did one that was just her very traditional costume, or maybe they did the Vegas one first. Or no, the one I have is based on the Vegas costume. It's not as like, I mean, she was doing titty twirling, so it's not that, but it's like loosely based on the Vegas scene from the end of Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. It's very cute. They did Alien. The Alien one is weird, but it's kind of cool. Yeah, it's super fun. So we are gonna do some dolls, and so I think the Trixie will be fun because Trixie is very about dolls. So the fact that we're filming a lot of content around dolls, we're also finally. This was on the docket to film last time, and we didn't get to it. But we are finally gonna film part one and part two of my gem collection. So we're gonna be looking. Part one is gonna be the dolls from the vintage gem line. So it's gonna be the holograms, the misfits, the assorted characters. I don't have the full line, but I have a lot of them. I have the full lineup of the holograms and of the misfits. I have Rio. I have Synergy. I have a couple others. Do I have Synergy or do I have a loose Synergy? We might talk a little bit about the loose dolls that I have, but that may wait till part two because part two is going to be. Although now that I think about it, maybe I'm like overstuffing what's going to be in part two. I'll see. I'll kind of look at it and we'll kind of figure out how the filming goes because we're going to talk about the fashions. And a lot of my loose dolls have gym fashions on them. So we may go over the loose dolls in the part two when we cover the fashions. Because that's why I have some loose dolls. I usually buy the ones. Now, most of my gem dolls are in the packet or are loose. And the reason why is because this was an early collection that I started a long time ago. And this was before I used to never care about keeping things in the package, and I sort of hate packaging. I'm one of those people that as soon as I get something, I have to take it out of the packaging. Like I don't like makeup and stuff. I have to get it out, throw the box away, take off any of the shrink wrap, any of that kind of stuff. And so when I first started collecting gem dolls, that's how I was. Is that um, I had to take them out of the package. I have one pizzazz doll that's in the package because I have a loose pizzazz, and then that's part of the main line dolls mainline. I mainline dolls. That's the truth. That's my problem. But yeah, so I have the ones that are in their outfits and have their accessories and all that kind of stuff, and then I have some loose ones. But I do have a couple that are in the package that we're actually going to film the unboxing because for a long time I had most of the misfits and holograms, but I didn't have. Strangely enough, I didn't have the two with curly hair. I had a loose Stormer that didn't have all the accessories, so I put her in a fashion. I didn't have a Shayna doll. She was pretty hard to find and still has been hard to find. And the one that I got, the package isn't even in that great of condition and the doll has some damage. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to buy this one and I'll keep an eye out to see if I can find like a deal on a Shayna in the box. But I think in that first video, we are going to unbox Shayna and Stormer. So to have them in with the other loose dolls. The other pizzazz is more of a display one, so I'll keep that one. And I think I might have a Rio doll, so there might be three dolls that we unbox in that. So maybe the first one is probably more balanced with the other ones. Then we'll do kind of some of the loose dolls in the fashions, and we're also going to do other things. Like the new dolls. So I do have dolls from the Loyal Subjects, which is a company that does all kinds of like new reboot kind of toys. They do Strawberry Shortcake. They do I think I've talked about this in a video before. Loyal Subjects is the company that did this Rainbow Bright doll. So I do have a Rainbow Bright. They were having a sale where this was $10. And so I did get a Rainbow Bright doll because I was like, I remember Rainbow Bright. They've done some of the other color kids. I don't think I'm going to. They don't have the full lineup, and I don't know if I need any more Rainbow Bright. I wasn't that into Rainbow Bright. I thought she was kind of cool, but I never had any of the toys really for Rainbow Bright as a kid, so I don't have as much nostalgia for that. But I was like, Rainbow Bright could be cool, and I did get also on the $10 sale. They're doing this for $10, and I also got a big like 8-inch or 10-inch plushie of her Sprite. Let's see if it shows her on the back. Shows him. So they each had a little like I don't. It doesn't really show them. Oh yeah, it does. So like right down here, you can kind of see in this sticker set that all of the color kids had a matching little Sprite. So for most of them, if they were green, it was green. If they were yellow, it was yellow, etc. For Rainbow Bright, it was white, and his name is Twink. And HalloweenCostumes.com has a plus size Rainbow Bright costume. So that made me premiering at a drag show near you at some point. I may, because I was like, if I order the 10-inch one, that would work for me to carry at a drag show if I was doing a Rainbow Bright number. So I was like, well, I'll order the $10 twink. So I did get them for $10. They were having a pretty good sale. They do have, so this is like a 12-inch or a 10-inch. They do have the same size. They have Indigo, which was the one character of color. And she was always the hardest to find. And so I thought it was cool that they decided to redo her. So I may pick that one up. And then I may pick up if they do a patio green, because green is my favorite color. I do love patio green. So I might do that one as well. I may pick that one up if they do it. They've done smaller patio greens, but they haven't done this size of patio green. There's some that are like 5-inch dolls that aren't the, because Rainbow Bright was always a soft doll. It was like a stuffy kind of doll. Um, they have like a 5.5-inch, but I think it's more of a plastic, kind of trying to bridge the gap between this and like a fashion doll. I'm not about that life. So yeah. Yeah, I saw that. Oh wow, rainbow is larger than I thought it would be. I'm trying to steal a rainbow to right top that Rose has. Yes. Yeah, they do smaller ones too, but that one is like a 10, or I think it's a 12-inch. I think it's a full like 12-inch kind of stuffy doll. Yeah, I thought it would be perfect for a Rainbow Bright costume. Um, so I have several of the gem dolls. Of the ones they've released, the only thing I don't have, and I was very tempted, although I resisted, I'm fairly glad that I did, because the only one that I don't have is a 2-pack that has Jerica Benton and it has Synergy, which looks really cool. But when I got into this, so I first found that gem, the Loyal Subjects. I didn't know anything. Thank God for Allison, Retro Toy Princess, and Gatie's Toys have like got me learnt on some of this toy stuff, because I didn't know who the Loyal Subjects were. I didn't know what they were doing. There's a lot of these like toy companies that are creating new versions of like retro toys and have different licenses and stuff. And so I just found it because that gem doll actually started as a Walmart exclusive, and I found it in Walmart. And in Walmart, I think she was 20 or $25. So she wasn't that expensive. And now the new ones that have come out are usually more like $40. And this 2-pack is $120. And I've managed to hold off because Jerica Benton outside of the gem, that's fine, but I don't know that I need that one. So like I got glitter and gold and I got the holograms, and I'm waiting. At one point they did a preview of Pizzazz, who was my favorite character, and then they never had announced a pre-order. Apparently something was wrong with it, so they're still working on it. So I'm waiting for the day that they do Pizzazz, and I'm hoping that they do the Misfits, at least the original Misfits, because like they did the holograms. They did Aja, Shayna, and Kimber. They became one. That would be their couple name, Shayner. Aja, Shayna, and Kimber. So at least if they do Stormer and Roxy, because I need a Stormer. I love Stormer too. There were, as the gym, I don't know if it was season 2 or when exactly it falls in the cartoon, but each of the bands got another member. So the Misfits got Jetta, who was British and sassy and in a full black and white and silver. And then the holograms got Rhea. And so I hope they do those at some point as well. But I'm really here for Pizzazz and for the Misfits. But that's the only one that I don't have. Now I do have 2 of the gem. I picked up 2 of them so that I can have one that I can open. So in the video, there's one that's open that I've looked at, and we're going to take it out and show the parts, because there is something with the articulation that I think is weird that I'll show you in the video. But so I have one that's open that I can take out, and the other ones are just going to stay in the box. But they were having a deal. So all of this, I know, long story short, too late. All of this to say that they were doing a sale that I managed to resist, where if you bought the 2-pack, you got a gem doll for free, like the original gem doll that they did. And I was very tempted. And I was like, why do you need 3 of those? Why would you ever need 3 of those? I don't know. But it was so because it's free. You can get me with like a free gift. I'm one of those suckers that I get pulled in. I've already got 2 of that doll, but I was like, I could maybe give it to Angie. Like, I could, if we ever did like some sort of customization, like, there's so many options, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, no, you don't need to spend $120. Because I do like that the synergy looks very drag queen. Very, like, gem dolls have always looked kind of draggy to me, with those big man feet with the big pumps. I love it. I'm enamored. I love them. But like the Synergy doll looks extra like maybe she's out for a night on Halloween. Like she's there's something about her that I find very draggy. And so I just don't know that I need them. Maybe at some point, if they come into my life in some way, maybe they'll do another sale at some point, and maybe I can get in on it. But I was like, now is not the time. We're not going to do that. But we're going to talk about the new toys. We're going to talk about the ones from the loyal subjects. I also have a couple of Funko Pops. And I have some makeup items. So I wanted to talk about this because I am going to film it and it is going to be in the video. But since a lot of the people who come to my lives are also into the makeup community. A lot of them come over from Dion's, and so we've got a lot of makeup fans. And I've got a couple products. How many people remember when Sephora did a Gem and the Holograms collab? And I know there were other products. I don't think I bought the other products. I do have some other things that are not exactly makeup, but I think there were other makeup products. I wasn't interested. I didn't pick up any of the makeup products, but I did pick up this palette, and now it's kind of in my makeup memories. The Sephora collection eyeshadows are not great. This was never that good of a palette. I don't even know if it's that great of a gem palette. I just thought it was cool that somebody was doing a collab related to gem, because you can see this is very much like a Morphe sort of palette, because it's very like, look, what is that? What is that? What what is that? What is that? The only thing is, maybe I'm like, see, I'm the English major who's like, maybe this is like a comment on 80s TV and 80s cartoons, because there's a whole lot of beige ones and one brown. Like that's that's 80s television. That's 80s television. Whole bunch of beige, one brown. And Gem was no different. Their Shayna was like the one character of color when they launched. The Misfits were all white. Rhea was Hispanic, so then they did add another character of color. But yeah, so she could be this shade. Very neutral. What are these shades? Those are the. Tell me that's not six of the same shade right in a row. What are you talking about? It is a whole row of nothing, Janet. Absolutely, very neutral, CJ. Yes, yes, yeah. Like, I mean, there's this bright pink. There's like this pop of green. There's a couple other colors, but even the like bright colors are on the dark side. I would have expected more shimmer. I mean, the packaging is fun. If these were different shades, the packaging isn't terrible. I mean, I don't know that it's the most gem that you could get, but it's kind of cute. And they've got fun names. They've got, the names are all very Gem and the Holograms: Minx, Rhea, Gal Pal, Clash, Hologram, Starlight, Mrs. Bailey's. There's some like deep cuts to the characters. You're cooking dinner for your dog, but you're back now. Well, welcome back, and say hello to the fabulous gentleman. Tell him we all say hello. But yeah, so I have this. Now, the other thing, like I said, I think there were a couple of other makeup products, and I never had those. But what I did have, the rant at the beginning, very much related, because this was very strange because they included in the collab, which was not a brand that Sephora was carrying at the time, but they somehow like connected with them to do a series of hair dyes from Manic Panic, featuring the holograms. Now here's the one for Shayna, and there you can see she had purple hair, so this is the purple color. This seems mostly the same color. Now the thing with these, now let's look at Aja. Aja's was too dark for what Aja's hair really was in the show, but this would have faded to like a bright turquoisey blue. So this kind of makes sense. Now, of course, Gem has pink hair and Kimber has like reddish orange hair. The Gem hair color, I've had this for quite a few years. I never did use these. I just kept them in my collection. I was like, they're kind of cool. Maybe I'll use them someday. But now they clearly have gone off. And so even the ones that are still kind of the same color, I'm like, I don't think I would use them on my head. I have used Manic Panic before and I do like it, but this one has faded to such a baby, almost like white pink. So this one has faded quite a bit, but it just kind of is very pale. Now, when I tell you that Kimber's hair, like the dye, was like a very electric red. When you see this color that it turned, and this is just, it hasn't been stored where like sunlight hits it. My bathroom doesn't get a lot of sunlight in any of the places that I've lived. I always have curtains, and usually, the house I live in now, the window, it's an older house, and the bathroom was just kind of chunked in when they updated and added plumbing. And so the window's actually in the tub, like it's in the shower, behind the shower curtain. So there's no direct sunlight. So Kimber, what's the name of this color? Or the color is called orange red. And that's what it was. It was like a blood orange, bright electric red with like an orange tinge to it. This is the color that it is now. I wish I had a Kimber doll like at hand to be able to show you what her hair looks like. But yeah, they did. So apparently don't keep hair dye in your house for years and years and try to use it, because this one is clearly showing its age. This one is definitely, I mean, I think the pink on this one, again, because hair dyes, even, they're always like a demi-permanent or semi-permanent, they call them. And so they do fade. They're meant to like fade over time, but you usually get a pretty good. So like this was a much deeper pink. This pink even looked darker than the pink that I have now when it was in the bottle, when it was new, from what I remember. These two look roughly the same, and these are a little bit darker than I would have expected, but like I said, they look darker, and they would have faded out to a nice, much more cartoon accurate sort of look. But these two. So that's one of the things that we're going to talk about in Gem Part 2 is some of my other Gem stuff that's not the original doll line. We're going to talk about the fashions. We'll talk about some of the loose dolls. But I don't have a ton of the fashions. I do think the fashions are very cool. And if I find, there's one series of them of 6 outfits that is my primary Gem fashion collection. And then other things, if I find one that I like and if I find a good deal, I pick it up. But I don't, and I have even like, if it was all complete, I've bought like one loose one to put on a doll. But like the glitter and gold line of fashions, I have all of them in some form or another, but my eventual goal with that part of the collection is to have 6 of them that are still in the package and 6 of them that are on dolls. So duplicates of each of the outfits, one that's out of the package and one that's still in. So I think I'm missing like 1 or 2 from each side. So like there's 1 or 2 that I don't have loose, there's 1 or 2 that I don't have in the package. And so we will go through the whole fashion collection. I'll show some pictures of fashions because there are some that, again, if they didn't show up so expensive, if I found deals on them, I would pick them up, because I do think that like the Gem line of fashions, I think, are so good because they really did recreate looks from the show. Like that's one of the things with like Barbie and the Rockers, some of them are just like wild 80s, but there's no like reference point for them. And some of them, I think they did a really good job, but with Gem, it's a whole other level, because there are fashions that like the artwork on the package looks dropped out of the cartoon. And if you go to the cartoon, you can find the episode where that outfit appears and it looks the same. Like the coordination between the toy makers and the people manufacturing the toys was impeccable, because they really did recreate looks. Because that was one of the things, a lot of cartoons, that people and a lot of times like Gem, some of the characters, they had their like signature, like Gem has the pink dress. So she showed up in this a fair number of times, but it wasn't one of those where like, like in Bob's Burgers, where everybody is wearing the same outfit in every single episode. Sometimes there's like a costume or something that changes, but they're all wearing the same outfits. That wasn't Gem. Gem, they were always in new outfits and doing different things and different kind of fun things. And so the toys really kind of took advantage of that. So I love. I'm back now talking to your roommate about getting appointments onto the calendar. Well, welcome back. I was just showing off the crazy hair dye that I have in my collection. That this used to be red, like a blood orange red with hints of orange, and I've had it in my bathroom for so long that it just has faded to this like weird mustard, like French's mustard yellow. So certainly not. I wasn't planning to. At some point, I thought, well, I'll keep them around, and if I get sick of just having them as like a fun little collection piece, maybe I'll put one on my hair. And now I'm like, well, clearly I'm never putting these on my hair, so they can just be in my collection to remember that. Because I thought it was cool that Sephora. I don't think the Sephora collection has done a lot of collab products, so I think that was kind of cool that they decided to do a collab with Gem, and I liked, like I said, the now this was many years ago. Does this have a date on it? I don't know if they usually put. A lot of times they don't put like because it's not like a book or something, so they don't necessarily put like a year on it because it's more about when it's younger and fresher. It's more about the PAO. I mean, something even if this had been in the package, I would still question it a little bit because it's from like 2013, 2014, maybe. So it's more than a decade old. So still being in the package, I mean, things can still spoil even if they're not opened. But um, there's limits to some of that. But most people aren't keeping things in their collection like weirdos like me. So, but it wasn't very great. But I had much different expectations for collabs. Um, Yes, yeah. Before I showed the ones that had really discolored, she asked me if I had ever used any of the dyes on my hair. And I was like, well, no, and I'll show you why, because apparently they do not age well. But I had much different standards for collabs back then. Um, so apparently I thought this was worth buying with this this row. Fall 2015. Okay. That's even later than I would have thought, but still over a decade. Fall of 2015. Wow. I can't. My brain is having trouble with math because the fact that 2015 is 11 years ago, like it does not compute in my brain. That it does not. I cannot understand that. 2015 was 2 years ago in my brain. 2013 was like 5 years ago, and then anything from like 2015 on until like 2020. But then 2020 is also like 2020 to now. The pandemic was this weird restart. I feel like I'm in a TV show that did a weird time jump, and so like I cannot believe it's been 6 years since the start of COVID. What is happening? What is happening in my world? I took my garbage can out of here when I was cleaning. Where did I put it? Now I just have a crushed can. I'm so butch. I just crushed it myself. Yeah. Did you use? I assume they were no. So that was like the gimmick was that they made the hair on the characters. They left it clear so that you could see the color of the dye through their hair. Um, and so, which is a cool idea, except that now Kimber looks like this. Kimber looks like just a blonde, and Gem looks like she is aging. I mean, Gem is 40 years old, so 40, and she was a teenager or whatever at this time. So now she's hitting her 60s. So she got white hair instead of pink hair. Even the hologram can't disguise age. Hello, Cheese. How's it going? Hello, welcome. Hello, hello. Yeah, so I have not used the hair dye. I'm kind of kicking myself that I didn't when it was still good. But what can you do? Oh, here I do have a little gem earring. So here's a little gem earring, and you can see that her hair is like, well, you can't see it because it won't focus. That red blob is is Kimber. So that's the color her hair is supposed to be. And that's the color it has turned in the bottle. Crazy, crazy. But you can see how for these other ones, like that purple is way too dark of a purple for Shayna, but it would have faded to that. Like it would have faded gracefully to that beautiful sort of and like this for Aja. So you can see Aja, it's a much brighter, like turquoisey blue, would have faded to that color very naturally. So those I don't mind. I never minded that they were too light, but or that they were too dark because I knew that it would. But then when this started to change, I was like, oh, there must be something in. There must be something. Now both of those would have like red dyes in them, for the pink and the red. Red would have red dye. What? Alert the news. But so maybe there's something about like a red pigment that they use to create those that like fades in that way. Well, purple would use red though, but maybe it wouldn't use it in the same concentration. I don't know what caused it. I can't explain it. I'm not a scientist. I'm a mouthy drag queen on the internet. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what caused it, but maybe they had higher concentrations of red and that caused it. But yeah. So that's all that's kind of going on is I'm just getting ready for this filming day on Saturday. I'm very excited. I've been reinvigorated with Angie and I filming a little bit more now. And so you may have noticed that more filmed videos have started to come out on the channel. YouTube doesn't care because it's certainly not pushing them because the views are not great, which is fine, which is just fine. But there are some, and I've been sharing some of my older videos that I enjoyed. I've been going back and watching some old things because I've been thinking about I haven't done a tag video in a while. I think the last one might have been when Dion and I created our tag. If you didn't know about that, search that on my channel. It'll be on my collab playlist, or if you search for Dion, or if you search self love makeup tag. Dion and I did a tag together. I asked her. That was, I don't think that was the first collaboration we did. I think we'd maybe done like one, maybe two collaborations before. And then, but I didn't know you very well because I was a little nervous because I was like, I should ask her, like, would you ever want to like collab on this tag with me? And she's like, sure, let's do it. And so, because she had kind of inspired it. And so, that her like intro, Dion's intro at the beginning of her videos, where she's like, this is about self love and self acceptance. I was like, I want to write a tag about that. And so I wrote like a few questions and I sent them to her. I was like, what do you think about these? And what kind of questions would you add to it? And so we collabed on the questions together and then we did collab videos. So we did film videos, one on my channel, one on hers, where we did the self love. If you want to do that, it's still out there. You can search it on my channel. All the questions are in the description box. If you do it, just make sure you tag us so that we can see it and I can add it to some sort of community playlist. I would love to see people do the self love makeup tag. Maybe I'll reshare that on my post. I've been sharing a bunch of other stuff. I did have to share my copying rant video because I feel so passionate about that. If you haven't been to my post tab, you should watch my video. I know that it seems like I'm just fishing for more views, and I am. But I also think that there are some videos where I'm like, okay, this was fun or whatever. We put it out there, whatever happens, happens. There are some videos that I feel like deserve more views, and that's one of them. Because I had a lot of information. We talked about copying and we talked about I hate when people say copying in the makeup space. I hate it so much. I hate it so much. And so I give kind of three main examples. So we talk about Kylie Cosmetics had a Valentine's collection that were in heart shaped components. And then Trixie did kind of a funny TikTok where she was using like one of her, this is a lipstick, but she was using one of her glosses and then was like took out her phone and there was like sirens or whatever. So she made a joke out of it, and people thought she was seriously like she's gonna sue Kylie Cosmetics for copying her. And I was like, oh my god, this is so juvenile. Please stop. And then the second one that I talked about was Manny and Lunar Beauty and the faceted compact that he did for his highlighters, and comparing them to a Makeup Revolution. They did a glass skin collection that Manny even like fed into this whole like they're copying me bullshit. And Makeup Revolution, to their point, was having none of it. So like if you want to hear about their response, you should watch the video. And the last one was about there was actually a trademark lawsuit that Tatcha filed again because Tatcha, I guess, does makeup. I've never Tatcha is that way overpriced skincare brand. Like I know the skincare. I've had some samples. I have tried Tatcha creams and stuff when they give them out at um, like at Sephora when I used to shop at Sephora more. They would often give out Tatcha samples, so I've used it and it was fine. But the moisturizer cream is like $96 or something, and that was back then. It's probably more expensive now. And so I had no desire to try Tatcha for real. I guess they have makeup too, but when Too Faced launched their Peach Perfect collection, um, they had a certain packaging that some elements kind of echoed the Tatcha. So Tatcha sued them, and then Jen Love had been covering it on her channel and was talking about like, oh, um, this lawsuit seems to have been they've asked to have it dismissed without prejudice or with prejudice. Which I say it in the video correctly, and it's whichever one allows you to refile it in the future if you have more evidence or a better case or whatever. But they removed it, and she's like, I don't know why, I don't know whatever happened. Well, then I had gone into a Sephora and I saw that the packaging had changed, so I showed the two different packages and stuff. So how am I doing, Cheese? I'm doing all right. This hair is fading faster than I like. We talked about that at the beginning. I just redid this on Sunday, and this is the level that it's at already. I don't know. I don't know about that, but other than that, I'm good. Visual comic artists talk about stealing from each other all the time, and it's kind of a compliment. Yeah, there's a lot of, and in the makeup world, there's a lot of like inspired by, and there are like dupe brands and stuff, but the whole like copying, there's something that's so juvenile about that sort of phrasing of it that just grates on me or whatever. Because I get that there are whole ass dupe brands. Like Makeup Revolution started pretty much as a dupe brand, and all that kind of stuff. But I'm totally gonna rip that. Yeah. And so using like inspiration, and then I also just talked about the fact that these are like grown ass adults and they're in the cosmetics industry. Like, do people think they don't have the same trade publications? They don't have the same like trend forecasts. All of these, everybody has access to that. Everybody can go out and buy a Vogue magazine and see what's big and be like, oh, we should, these are the kinds of colors they're seeing on the runway. Let's create makeup that looks like this. These are the kind of makeup looks we're seeing on the runway. So like they have access to all of those kind of inspiration things. Especially the bigger the brand, the more they have to appeal to like the general populace. So they're going to look for trends that are popular that are going to sell a lot. Hello, Tina. Welcome. Hello, Tina Jones. Saw you earlier in Dion's live. Hello, welcome over to my channel. I have a hard time finding this. I feel like it comes and goes. This 7 Up Zero Sugar Cherry Soda is so good. I love it because it's different. There's also like the 7 Up with cherry, which is also good. But this is literally like a cherry soda. So it's not really like a cherry mixed with like, I don't notice any other kind of like citrusy flavors. It's just like a cherry soda. I love that. Oh, because that's what your handle says. It says Tina Jones 7081. And so Tina, so um do you see how my brain just like shut down for a second? Dion had said Tina Jones, and so I just said it too. But if you'd prefer just Tina, I can call you just Tina. Miss Jackson, if you're nasty. Um, yes, so welcome, but we're glad to see you either way. Yeah, things are coming along in my office, my cleaning project. I was like, we're gonna put it on hold for a little bit. And so I was like, we're gonna come on live, and I'm very excited. I'm very excited that things are starting to like look a little bit more organized. At some point, I do want to do. You're kidding? Okay, that's good. I don't care either way. I don't mind being corrected if people would prefer something else. That's not a problem. Especially now that YouTube doesn't show your like channel name, like the display name. It shows your @ handle. I still don't like that. It's been that way for quite a while now, and I have not gotten used to it. I don't love it because there's a lot of people that like, especially when the change first happened, there were a lot of people that like their channel name was like their name, so then you just knew. But then maybe their name wasn't available when they set it up, so then they have this like long collection of letters and numbers, and now that's what you get displayed in the chat. So I don't love that, but yeah. I don't know that I have much of anything else to chat about. See if there's anything else that's new and fun. I don't think so. Have I come across anything fun as I've been going through and organizing some of these drawers? You know what else I need to check up on? You can edit the name though. So you can change your @ handle. Oh, I think you can change the @ handle. Yes. If it's still available, if nobody else has taken it. Um, but it's also like kind of strung together, and so a lot of people like if they use more of just like a name or a description. I don't like it. I don't like it. Um when am I planning the doll videos? Oh, Alex. Well, we're filming quite a few of them this weekend, and then it's just how long it takes me to edit. So I my I for sure want to get. We're also going to film a She-Ra part two, and we're going to film Gem 1 and 2, and then I for sure want to get She-Ra Part 2, Gem 1 and 2, the Barbie collector and celebrity dolls. I want to have all of those edited by the end of the year, edited and posted on my channel by the end of the year. Monster High, I'm determined to film it before the end of the year, but I don't know if it'll end up on my channel before the end of the year. It just depends on when things happen. But so that's my goal, is with the second She-Ra video, the two Gem videos, the next Barbie video, also a Golden Girl lore video. I'm waiting on one book that I'm trying to find to get the last of the lore, and then I'm going to start filming. I want to have the Golden Girl lore video up on my channel. By That's not really a doll video because I don't think we'll include the dolls in the video, but I already have videos about the dolls, but the lore, I'm very excited for that. So that I'm hoping to have on my channel, and then Monster High will probably be like early next year, is kind of if I can get it done earlier. Wouldn't I love that for myself? I'm sorry that I'm slower than rope trying to get all of this stuff together, but Monster High I'm very excited for, because I do have a big collection of Monster High, because I just hit it at the right time where a lot of stores, that generation was kind of dying off. So there was so much stuff I found on clearance. People were clearing out their collections, putting it up on eBay, and because the generation was kind of dying out, there wasn't as much collectability, so there were cheap eBay auctions, things like that. They kind of come and go in waves. And I just hit it at the right time where I was getting, and like Kmart, this was when Kmart was still around, but it was getting close to closing down. And so I got a lot of, I think there's quite a few that I got for $5 or less at Kmart that are in my collection. So like Monster High, I did really like it. And once I watched some of the cartoons, the movies, the animated movies, that kind of, and I like monsters anyway. Like that's always, I love creepy stuff. I've always loved monsters. And I thought they were doing really interesting stuff with which monsters they were picking as they went on and on. They kept adding these like additional characters who were based on really interesting folklore and monsters. And then they were available for cheap. And so I have a pretty big collection of Monster High. So that's going to be at least a two-parter, maybe a three-parter. We're going to see how it all goes. And then after that, I may declutter some of my Monster High, because there are some that are just classics that I love, that are very cool. Once I document them in the video, there may be some that I'm willing to part with. So we shall see how that goes, because I do love them, but I have such a big collection, I don't have anywhere to display them. I do also have another doll video that's going to be coming at some point. Is I have some Living Dead dolls, and those are ones that are from early, because I used to work at Hot Topic, so a lot of those I got on clearance when I worked at Hot Topic, and then I had ordered some that I found on eBay and stuff. There was one series that I wanted the whole series. It was series 7, because they did the 7. Usually the Living Dead dolls, each series was a set of 6, but for series 7, they did the 7 deadly sins. And I always think stuff that's themed around the 7 deadly sins, I always think can be very interesting, the way that they choose to do it. And they did them in this kind of rainbow of colors, which I thought was really cool. So like Wrath is red, um, Envy is green. So like each one has like a strong color. So we'll do the Living Dead dolls, and I'm gonna keep the series 7, but I may get rid of some of the Living Dead dolls too once I've documented them. So yeah, there's a lot of that. What's the Fairy Tale Descendants line called? Fairy Tale High. I have one. I never got into those for some reason. They're so similar to Monster High, but I think there's something about them. I think I have to look at them to try to remember. I think their heads are slightly bigger. And so there was something about it that it didn't vibe with me, but maybe I'm making that up in my head. But there's one that's called Darling Charming, and she is descended from Prince Charming, and she wants to be a knight. And so a lot of the other ones are like descendants of Cinderella and Sleeping Beauty and all these things. And they're like training to become princesses. And I love that Darling Charming, she's like, I don't want to be a princess. I want to be the White Knight. And so I just thought that was cool. And so I just bought that one at Toys R Us when Toys R Us was closing. So again, another clearance find. I have a lot of toys, but I also am a bargain shopper. So some of them I've paid too much money for, like Natasa that we talked about in the She-Ra video. but a lot of them I find on clearance and stuff. So Living Dead dolls are awesome. I never picked up any, unfortunately. They're kind of weird because I don't like baby doll type dolls, but they were just so cool with the like weird theming, and the way that they presented them was so creepy and fun. And so I just got pulled in by some of them, and so I would love to document that I had them. And like I said, some of them I may keep just because I love like the Seven Deadly Sins motif. But I think I am going to clear out some of them. Yeah, I just have the one Fairy Tale High because her costume is. Yeah, there were some of them that were just so fun. I also need to find, but they're very rare. I wish I had bought one when Toys R Us was going out of business, because Monster High, they did three characters. They did Draculaura, Frankie Stein, and Claudine Wolfe, and they did a 17-inch version. Now I do have a 17-inch Monster High doll of. It was part of their Circus du Freak collection, and it's like Gulaya P. Jones or something. But she's got red skin, which I think would be harder to work with. I thought if I got like a Claudine who's got brown, like the fur, but then I was like, is there going to be molded fur or whatever? So I thought maybe Frankie Stein might be the easiest one to work with, or maybe a Draculaura. They're kind of expensive, the 17-inch ones, but I want one because Angie, that's another thing I need to put on YouTube, because I've documented that like on Instagram and stuff, but Angie has made me a couple dolls that are so funny. They're so good. She recreated the little picture, like my name when I comment on stuff. I'm in the pink dress and I'm sipping the like KFC soda. She created that look on a Ken doll, and then when I went to my first horror convention, I wore this Jaws themed with like a faux hawk wig and a white dress and these sunglasses that had like shark teeth. They were red lenses with shark teeth painted on them. And then I had a Jaws purse. And she created a little crochet amigurumi doll in that outfit, including my little red tennis shoes, because obviously, I'm not going to wear heels when I'm standing all day at a horror convention. So I just wore my tennis shoes. Eventually, I went and found like some ballet flats to wear so I could be a little bit more draggy. But the first one I went to, I just had my red tennis shoes. And so she made. And so I've always wanted a 17-inch Monster High doll turned into a Janessa. And so that's on my goal list. So if I can find one for cheap, because again, we're going to be like ripping out the hair, repainting, doing the whole thing. I just need the body. And so Finn was terrified of the one you gave me. Oh yeah. Finn was terrified of the one you gave me. I had to hide it in the closet when he was little. Yeah, I gave my mom when I worked at Hot Topic, I got one for her too of the Living Dead dolls. Oh, hey everyone. Hello, Dawn. How's it going? We're getting close to wrapping up, Dawn, but we're glad that you're here. Shame on you. Yes, so it was oh, so good. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry, Dawn. It was an unplanned one. I was still in the office when Dion finished up with her live, and I was in the mood to take a break from cleaning and organizing. So I was like, let's pop on live and talk about. So if you watch on replay, you'll see the two options. But if you want to vote, that was what we started off the video with. I'm doing a filming day on Saturday. So whatever look I do on Saturday is going to show up in a lot of videos, and there's going to be a Get Ratch with me. I am going to do both of these looks at some point or other. But option one was I've got the Barbie Glamlight, the new Barbie Glamlight collection. I've got the Bratz palette to maybe do a little comparisons, and I have the original Barbie. So do some sort of like Barbie Glamlight themed look, or to do a summery, maybe more tropical kind of inspired. Option two is using the Trixie Air palette. So we have this more kind of pinky berry lingerie kind of color, or we have Trixie Air, the more tropical kind of palette. Like I said, I am going to do both of them, but it just depends on which order I'm going to do them in. Yeah, I do. In my Barbie Caboodle, I also have the ColourPop Barbie collection that they did. So are you a Barbie fan? We've got a couple votes for Trixie. I think you'd be the first vote for Barbie. And so I told Replay Crew, I'll say it again, Replay Crew, if you watch this, you can leave it in the comments. I'm going to go back on, I've noted down what we've had voted for in the video. So this is your last chance also to vote here. If you want to vote for one of those two options, let me know now. I'll mark it down and then I'll go into the comments and I'll see which one has the most votes. And then that's the look that I'll do for Saturday. So it'll be, because it's going to show up in a lot of videos. So it has to, either way, because somebody had suggested, I think it was Paul who was here earlier, was like, you could do one on each eye or whatever, which is a great idea. I love sometimes doing like little, that should be a video series that I do sometime, is do um like a palette battle or something, or do different looks on. Dion was doing that for a while, weren't you, Dion? If you're still here, I forget what you called it, and then Tanya was doing some of them as well. That was, I feel like I haven't seen one of those for a little while, but the like palette smackdown kind of things. um so I like that, but if it's going to be a long filming day where I know I'm going, if I'm just filming by myself and doing it on the webcam and I'm not going to be doing a bunch of other things, then I'm more likely to do a weird mismatched kind of eye. When I know I'm going to have a bunch of video where it's going to show up, it has to look like a coherent look. It has to look. Sometimes I look busted. Like sometimes it's still an experiment. And I'm still playing and still having fun, and so sometimes it might look a little busted, but it has to at least be one eye look. The two eyes don't look the same. They're always cousins, not sisters or twins, but they at least have to look like they were intended to be the same eye. So yes, good times, good times. Trying to think if there's anything else that I see nearby that I need to. Ooh, another video. So a final kind of thing. Beauty battle. That's what it was. I knew it wasn't SmackDown, but I knew there's something. Beauty battle. That was the one palette, one eye, and something else on the other. Um, oh, and especially you were doing the beauty battles of two palettes that were similar. That, see, I knew, I was like, it's catching in my brain, and I know there was something, but I couldn't remember what it was. The beauty battles are what I'm thinking of, where you would do the like, you wouldn't show the palettes on camera of which one you were doing. Well, I mean, you would show them at first. You would be like, here's one palette, here's the other, and then you would be like, okay, I'm going to do two looks. Which one do you think is which? So that could be kind of fun. Also, I want to do. These are my Revlon lipsticks. I have a bunch of Revlon because I do still think they are the OG. But in the recent Get Ratchet With Me, where I did the Barbie, my most recent video, if you haven't watched the Barbie one, that's a fun one. But in that one, I did the reproduction, the dupe of Pam Anderson's 90s lip combo, which Aaron Parsons had kind of put out in a TikTok. And so it's the Chai lip liner from Anastasia Beverly Hills. It is the mauved lipstick from L'Oreal, and then it is the sugar almond lipstick from CoverGirl. And so I thought about doing a video where we do like celebrity dupe stuff, because we could recreate this, we could do this. A lot of it is lips. There might be other things that I could add into the video as well. But also, I've mentioned a couple times that Aaron Parsons has been doing a ton of research on like Marilyn Monroe's makeup. And Marilyn Monroe, it was her 100th birthday this year. And this is like her signature red. And because of like film and photography at the time, if you wanted it to look kind of like a bright light red, they would actually use orange, and that would look red on camera. And so this Siren lipstick is the one that that Aaron Parson recommended that would be like the best dupe for Marilyn's lipstick. And then I don't have it because I've been reluctant to pull the trigger because their lipsticks are kind of expensive. But Lisa Eldridge has a shade in her collection called Audrey, which is based on Audrey Hepburn's signature pink. So I was going to go and see if anybody had done a video doing like a drugstore dupe for the Audrey Hepburn lipstick. And so I was like, that could maybe be a fun video, right? Of like, the face is painted and done, but maybe we wipe off the lips and just do these different lip colors to kind of, so maybe we do kind of a neutral eye and then show off, here's the Pam Anderson lip combo, here's the Marilyn lipstick, here's the Audrey Hepburn. I can look and see if there's any other famous ones that people have made TikToks or whatever about that could be kind of fun. So let me know if you think that is interesting. Yes, Lisa Eldridge just had a Marilyn Monroe collection, although from what I can tell, it's just the boxes. So those are the kind of collabs that never speak to me because, like I said, I have this weird thing about packaging. I want things to come out of the packaging. I want to throw the packaging away for the most part. I almost never, if the sleeve on a palette is the same as the cover art, I never keep the sleeve. The only sleeve that I think I kept is the Hella palette. Angelica Nyqvist from Sweden. Her first palette with Odin's Eye. The sleeve is slightly different. It's like sepia toned because she has that artwork of her face as Hela, where half of it is skeletal and half is like spring. Um, she has it's sepia tone on the outside and then full color on the inside. So that's the only palette that I can think of where I've kept the sleeve. Like if there's a significant difference, I will sometimes keep the sleeve, but I don't like boxes and packaging and sleeves. And so like the Lisa Eldridge doesn't speak to me because it's like, well, I'm just gonna throw that box away, or else I just have random loose little cardboard boxes. But then it's just a regular lipstick in my collection. So I thought it was pretty. I'm glad she did it, but I was not interested in that. The Elf Truffle Bite Size with 100% dupe for Makeup by Mario Dark Shadows. I remember that one. See, I remember those beauty battles, but then I was like, what was it called? Because a lot of times I'll call things smackdowns when I do them, and I knew that wasn't the word you would use, but I could not remember. The Lisa Eldridge, I have the palette and the sleeve. Oh, that you bought a palette from the Lisa Eldridge. Ooh, you'll have to let me know if you like it. I've never tried Lisa Eldridge. Ellie Mae, who stops by our lives sometimes. I haven't seen her for a little while, but we message a little bit on Instagram. But she's really into Lisa Eldridge, and so I wonder if she's picked up anything from the Lisa. I'll have to ask her. I'll just ask her on Instagram. I don't keep packaging either, but I will keep a sleeve because it doesn't take up space. Yeah, I just there's something about it where I just that extra cardboard. I'm like, it's gotta go. It's gotta go. Especially if it's not giving me anything unique or anything that's like different enough. I'm just like, oh, it's gotta go. I don't keep the no the Angie X Odin's Eye. Which Angie X Odin's Eye? I love cool packaging if I can reuse it. Yeah, something like that where I do have the packaging for this is so dumb. And I put this in a video a long time ago. I think it was like a video about makeup that I loved that everybody else hated. And I bought those two Makeup Revolution. Do you remember when for a long time they were doing those little eyeshadow palettes that had the squishy, it was basically like a stress ball, like that kind of squishy material. And they had like donuts and the donuts were squishy. They did two that were hamburgers and they had the squishy bun on top and they came in little hamburger like old style McDonald's hamburger boxes. Those I have in a box. I was trying to see if I have it nearby somewhere that was grabbable. But yeah, I have that in a video somewhere where I have the two hamburgers. Oh yeah. Oh, you have the Angie. Okay, that's what you were saying. I was like, I don't know the Angie XO inside. You have that palette, not the Lisa Eldridge. Gotcha. I have the Hella palette and sleeve is what I was talking about. Gotcha. Okay, I'm up to speed. I get there eventually. Sometimes you have to idle the car and wait for me a little bit, but I catch up eventually. I get there. I get there, but it's a journey. And so yeah, if there's any other if you think that that like celebrity lip stuff would be and that would be a good just to talk about like vintagey makeup and like my Revlons that I love because I've talked before about how I love some of these classic reds from Revlon. Like this is Cherries in the Snow. So beautiful. Fire and Ice, which is a bright, very tomato red. And this one I have. Is this a satin formula? This is the super lustrous lipstick. I also have the same color in the matte formula. So I have a matte version of cherries of Fire and Ice. I also have a matte. I just looked down and I also have a matte version of Cherries in the Snow. So I have this color. This is my favorite. I love Cherries in the Snow. I think that's beautiful. Crushed Rubies is not. Revlon had so many classic reds. This like Crushed Rubies, which is like a true like red, almost bricky red. They used to have liquid lipsticks, and they might still have some, but they are terrible. If they're not around anymore, that's why. Because I did a. This was before I had my YouTube channel when I was reviewing makeup more on my website. I was so excited to try them because I loved Revlon lipsticks, and then they were terrible. And then I have Siren, which is that orange that was Marilyn's color. We have On Fire, which is a beautiful orangey red. Love it. Love that pink. This is a very like classic Revlon shade. It's not even that pink. Like this is very, I mean, you can tell like the vintage colors, the ones that have been around for a long time, much less like bam, bam, pow in your face. Like the reds, somehow women kind of got away with red lipsticks, but a lot of times like the pinker ones, it took a long time for that to become more mainstream and more like acceptable. I have this shade called Really Red, which is another red. So many reds. Oh, I'm like Taylor Swift. I think a red lipstick is just classic and beautiful. Gentlemen prefer pink. Beautiful, beautiful pink shimmer. Love that. Heartbreaker. This is where we get into the more recent sort of color. This I must have tried on because I've got lip liner on it. Let me just wipe that off. This kind of bright, like hooker pink. That's what I think of when I say hooker pink, like this kind of color is the color I think of, like this electric fuchsia. I love it. I like the brand Besame. They have great reds, and so they do have great reds, and they are so expensive. I like Besame, and the lipsticks are very small. And I bought the Besame powder. And can I tell you, that was something else. I think I ranted about this in a video. As like I'm going back and watching some of my old content, and because there's some stuff that I've kind of half forgotten about. Because I bought. Let me see if I still have the. I might still have the package. I might still have it in here. Do I have the Besame, or did I finally get rid of it? Is this content? Once again, I'm putting us into a place where we have to ask, is this content? Oh, tell me I did not declutter the Besame. This hurts my heart. Okay, it seems that I have decluttered the Besame, but when I first ordered the Besame powder, so this was like it's a setting powder, right? It's just a loose powder, and they had the original was like scented like vanilla, and then they had a lilac or lavender. It was like a light lavender color. I can't remember if it was scented. I think it was scented like lilac. Um, I can't really remember. But so like their powder at the time was like 24 $25. Now this is the Coty Airspun powder. This is a big old heffa. This is like 2.3 ounces. This is the powder. I hate that they don't do the cardboard packaging anymore. But like when I smell this, this is when I like Mama Champagne, when I say old lady makeup smell, this is what I think of. Is it smells like this. And this makes me think of my grandma because when I would go over to her house, like when I was a kid before I started school, I would go to my grandma's house in the morning while my mom was at work, and my grandma would like make breakfast and stuff, but she would do her makeup and her hair at the kitchen table. And she always had Coty Airspun powder, and this smell, I am immediately back in the kitchen at her house and she's getting ready for the day. And I love this smell so much. But this is a big old thing. And so I miss the old packaging because that I remember seeing that in her makeup kit. I remember the smell. I love this. I love this so, so, so much. The powder I might have tried once. Now they have more variety of powders. Interesting. Melts Pink is called the High Heels. It is nice, kind of dry. Interesting. I don't think I ever smelled that. Yeah, this powder, I love this. This is like ancient drag queen secret. Coty Airspun powder. I know there's so many out there, and now it's gotten a little bit more expensive, but like you used to be able to get this for like $5, maybe $7. By the time I was ordering the Besame, I this was like $7 or $8. Love this. Love it, love it, love it. So when I saw Besame was like $25, I legitimately thought that I was going to get this size. I didn't look, I'm an idiot. Spatial things are hard for me. I'm not good at math. So I didn't like look at the ounces and all this kind of stuff. But I thought, well, it's an indie brand or it's like something. So I was like, okay, this is like $7. This is going to be like $25. But that's because it's an indie, it's old formulas or whatever. But I'm like, this big of a vat for $25. I was like, I'll do that. Because I was ordering a couple lipsticks anyway, and I liked the idea of like um, a powder that smelled like violet or whatever. This Morphe is about the size of what I got. And this Morphe might actually have more in it than the Besame powder had in it. And so I had a whole video and I figured out, I can't remember what it is. I'll have to see if I can find the video and maybe I'll repost that on the post tab. But I did the math where I figured out, okay, if this is $7 and there's this many ounces, I figured out the price. I was being very Stephanie Nicole. I love that she's coming back, but I was being very Stephanie Nicole where I calculated the price per ounce and it was ridiculous. It was absolute because this is like a dollar something per ounce. Well, maybe more than that because it's like 2.3 ounces. If it was like $8, it would be a little under $4 per ounce, right? Or whatever. This little tiny thing for $25, it was astronomical. It was like $90 per ounce or something. I'll have to look and find it. I'm just making up numbers at this point, but I need to go and look and see what it really was. And the best of it wasn't bad. And I liked the scent. The vanilla scent was, I ordered two of them because I'm an idiot. Because I thought they were going to be this size. And so I was like, then I'll have powder forever. I'll have one that's vanilla scented. I'll have one that's lilac scented and or violet scented. Maybe it was violet. Um, and I was like, oh, I'll have powder forever. Like who needs, you know, these? And I did go through Cody Airspun. I used to use a lot more powder to set my face than I did. But I was like, even then I'll have it for a long time. Two of these little fuckers showed up, like smaller than this. Because it was, some of it might just be that like the cap was a little bit thinner. So it might be about this because how much is this? This is 2.6 grams. Oh yeah, point 0.09 ounces. So this is 2.3 ounces. This is 0.09. So they might have this might be an accurate representation. Like I said, I'll try to find that video because I did calculate it and it was ridiculous. Ridiculous. Because obviously $25 for less than, no, I think it had to be less than that because I don't think it was just $25 per ounce. So maybe it was like half an ounce. Because then that would be like almost $50 per ounce of powder. And it wasn't, I didn't think that it was bad quality, but I didn't think that it was any better than this. There was nothing about it. The scent was kind of fun, but like, and again, because I'm a big old drag queen, this actually worked better because Airspun, I get in, they have translucent extra coverage, which might as well just say, hey, big dumb crossdresser, like, do you need to cover up your big man face? Cake it in this, like translucent extra coverage. Like, this is drag queen powder. If there are actual, like, just everyday makeup wearers out there who are wearing this, talk to me. Tell me what happened in your life that you went this direction because translucent extra coverage is drag queen powder. Like, you are slapping on a face. The Besame is just like a good powder, and it was especially good. And I guess it worked out well because it's in such a little thing that I didn't tend to use it over my whole face. I would use it to, like when I was baking under the eyes, I would use it for that. And so that you didn't need as much. So it ended up being good. But yeah, I didn't look closely enough at the listing because I literally thought I was going to get two containers of this size and I got two like this. The box came and I was like, this box is very small. This box is very small because there wasn't anything breakable. So they didn't put it in a big box with like wrapping and stuff. It was a couple lipsticks and a couple powders. And so the powders are, this size in a little box, two little lipsticks. So it was a very, it might have even been an envelope. I can't remember for sure, but I just remember, I don't remember what the packaging was, but I remember when I saw the packaging, I was like, unless we are bending the laws of physics. I was like, did they forget the powders? Did they ship things separately? Because I was like, there's no way that two of these would fit in there. And then I opened it and got out the little this. I was like, what? So needless to say, I have not ordered powder from Besame ever again. But you live and you learn. And now I still have way too much powder. I do probably keep more powder than I need. So at some point when we do a declutter, but I do like that there's more. Like I do have the pink from, I don't use a lot of pink, but I do have the pink and the peach from one size. So I have a couple different colors. I have this Makeup Forever where it's the 3 different colors that they mix together in the top, which I love. I haven't had a chance to play with this, but from LA Girl, there's a blue powder. Like it's very light and it's like almost like it looks like a white, like translucent powder, but it does have a little bit of blue. Do I not have a green anymore? Usually I have a green, but I have a couple Glam Light powders. I have the banana. Most banana powders end up being too yellow for me, but this one looks like this is kind of a slightly lighter. I have their pink powder as well. I haven't opened this. This got discontinued a long time ago, and I really did love this when I used to use setting powder on my whole face. Since I don't use setting powder on my whole face as much, I've been saving this in the package. Um, this is from Give Me Glow. Their baking powder in the shade Sugar Cookie. I don't know why these didn't sell and they discontinued them because Give Me Glow has had, they're always known for their single shadows, but they've had some other products that are bangers, and this is just like a light setting Sugar Cookie. I love this. Speaking of packaging, I did. That's what I was missing was the blends palette, which is what I used in Dion's live on Monday. So if you haven't seen the dual live that Dion and I did on Monday, you should definitely go check that out because I used that blends palette that wasn't in the original, where I had to email and be like, I don't know if you just sent these separate and didn't tell me. I need to figure out how to use this. This is that Conjuring, the like veil powder, where it's like clearly a silicone, like, I don't want to say cream, but it's the Sanctified Seal setting powder. But I'm like, I don't understand how to use this unless you just don't have foundation on. How Huda has Sugar Cookie too. Yeah. I have Give Me Glow loose powder and banana cream pie. When they were clearancing them out, I was so tempted to buy a bunch of, because I did buy an extra of Sugar Cookie and I used up the one that I had and I just haven't reopened that one. But I thought about buying several of them, but I was in the process of getting out of using, like I was starting to use less and less setting powders. And so I just was like, oh, I have to give me the, yeah, thanks. Thanks for that. Yes, thanks, Alex. Yeah, we're getting ready to wrap up. I keep saying that and then I keep going. I do have a Huda powder, but mine is in the shade Cupcake. But all of hers are named after like desserts as well. So the one that I have is Cupcake, which is a light one that's I think has a little bit of like pink. It's not a pink powder, but it does have a little bit of like a cool toned pinky kind of hue to it. Another powder that I love that is no longer available. This whole collection, the Too Faced, the Peaches and Cream collection from Sephora that was a Sephora exclusive. This powder is really good. And you can see I've used a lot of it. Like it's way, way down. And I love the smell. Does it still smell? Jumping Jesus Christ on a croissant. This is like my favorite makeup smell ever. Now the air spun powder smells like my grandma. It smells like home. Like that's the most nostalgic. I love the smell that they did with these. It was like a fig milk and peach. It is so good. It is so good. I will always have to have several of the, no matter how old they get, even if they go into my makeup memories, I have to keep some of these so that I can remember that smell. And I think the powder is going to keep the smell probably the longest. I think some of the cream products start to lose it, but I love it so much. Do you remember when Too Faced had the competing line? So that Peaches and Cream was only at Sephora. Too Faced, the Tutti Frutti collection was only at Ulta. This was also a very good. This is the translucent radiant nude. I forgot that I have this. This is a shimmer setting powder, and they had one that was supposed to be translucent, but it had like a pinky duochromy almost. It was too much. This was the like medium one, but it was kind of like a nudie color, and I love this. I thought I had decluttered this. I clearly need to pay more attention. I have a Clarity loose powder and pound cake that I haven't tried. I haven't tried face products from Clarity. I've tried their eyeshadows and some of their lip products, but not anything face. I bought like 5 Glam Light strawberry shortcake powders. I love them. Yeah, and Glam Light always has good sales. Hello, beautiful people. Hello, Joe. Yes, we are wrapping up. We're at an hour and a half. I think I started to say that we were going to wrap up at like 50 minutes. So clearly, I didn't do a very good job. John, remember when you came in and I told you that we were getting ready to go, and now we've been here like a half hour longer because I can't stop talking about makeup. I just can't stop. I also this was from the Tutti Frutti collection. And this actually smelled, so these smelled more like the things that were on the cover, but like anything that didn't have like a specific fruit or like a specific thing that it was meant to be modeled after, it had that like, it had this watermelon smell that I really liked. Hello. Yeah, don't believe me. I said, oh, so yeah. Yeah, I said that Dawn came in and I was like, oh, Dawn, you caught us at the end. You'll have to catch the replay. That was half an hour ago. So I don't want to get to the point where it's like getting close to 2 hours and it starts to buffer because that's always terrible. Let's keep her going. Pick a time. Oh, I hate that I love this, but now that I know, maybe I could declutter this because again, I don't like to waste products or whatever, and I don't just throw things away. But with Jalopity Staircase, I using his products on my channel does not bring me joy. So I've decided that I'm not going to do it. And I even when I'm just like painting my face by myself, if I'm not talking about the products, it doesn't bring me joy. But the Jeffree Star Shimmer Setting Powder in Natural is it's so beautiful. And I think that I kept it because I was thinking maybe I'll have to do a comparison because I thought I had decluttered this. And so I think this has made it through so many declutters because this was the closest replacement I had for this. Now I realized I still have this. So maybe this can get decluttered, but it's so beautiful. This is a hard one. I mean, I'm keeping all of the eyeshadow palettes and all that kind of stuff, but I just don't use them. It's more of like makeup history, whatever. But like this I used and I really loved. It's a shame that he's a shitty person because he's a shitty person who makes great makeup. Because I hate when people are like, oh well, the makeup's trash anyway. Because I can tell you that with Jalopity Staircase, the makeup is not shitty. The makeup is actually, for the most part, really fucking good. And so, but he's such a transphobe. He's become such a MAGA bootlicker. I cannot do it. I just cannot. And like I honestly felt like because all of his history and his past, like he had made apology videos and he seemed like he was making different choices. And so I was willing to say like, yes, he's got a checkered history, but the behavior seems to have changed. I'm all about patterns of behavior. And now this like recent alignment with MAGA and all the transphobia and all of the non-binary phobia and all that kind of shit. I'm like, oh no, he has not changed at all. He just felt like he couldn't say it out loud because he had gone through these like cancel culture moments. And now that the Tangerine Twat is in office, he feels emboldened to actually be a shitty person in public again. So that's where we are. So I'm just like, oh, yep, you got duped. I got duped. And so I don't feel joy using his products. But there's 2 palettes that have come out. And like one of them, the first one that came out was the like cowgirl one that like was not a very good color story anyway. He's running out of steam, I think. But then he did the Night Owl palette. If you've seen the Night Owl palette, it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. And I love owls. It's so beautiful. but I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. He had a like buy one get one free thing, I think, because he's had to have a lot more sales. So the cancel culture hasn't completely passed him by, but because he's had to do a lot more sales, and he had a buy one get one free, and there's two pallets that I don't have, and it was physically, but I was just like, I cannot do it. I can't do it. If something is in your past and you've apologized, I can kind of get over that. Have a good night, Mama Champagne. Yeah, people are starting to drop too. Um, yeah, Dawn, you really need to do content. My friend gave me her Too Faced pineapple bronzer and highlighter. Yep, shitty people ruin everything good. Yeah, that's one that hurts. There's some of these brands like Ensley Rain. I'm over it. They're transphobic. Fuck them. I've got Bella Butte Bar. I've got other kind of things. I don't have anything that feels and looks and performs for me the way that Jeffree Star Cosmetics performs for me. And I so that it hurts, but you know what? Sometimes doing the better thing hurts, and it just has to. It's just makeup. It's just makeup. There's no use putting yourself and other people through emotional trauma for makeup. Have a good night, Mama Champagne. Probably some self hatred going on. Absolutely. Yes, people saying goodnight with Mama Champagne gone. Maybe that's the cue. I'm sorry, Don. I know you were gonna try to like pick a topic and get me going, but she reminded me it's maybe time to go. I have to get home and I have to make some food. I'm not super hungry because I brought a big lunch with me and I kind of ate it throughout the day, so I'm not super hungry. But I should probably go get something to eat, and I have to be back here again tomorrow. So, and Dawn needs to do content. Absolutely, I agree. Upcoming things, don't forget that on Monday, Dion and I are going to be on my channel. We're going to be doing Pride Palette Bingo. So she's going to be using the MAC Colors of Pride. I'm going to be using the Blend Bunny Blends, and we are going to let the Wheel of Doom pick 6 colors for us. Very excited for that. And then in July, next Wednesday is July 1st. So we are kicking off a new series that'll be on Wednesday nights on my channel. The Wednesday night series in July starts at 7:30. I pushed it back half an hour because I usually work until about 7. So like if I'm doing other kinds of stuff, I can usually drop out a few minutes early and like for the pride chats and stuff. But since it's makeup and since I'm doing colorful foundation, I was like, let's push it to 7:30 Central. So make sure that every Wednesday in July, 7:30 Central, you're right here on this channel to watch colorful foundation looks come together. Green, orange, red, metallic gold, and pastel ombre. So very excited. So that's what's coming up on my channel. Look for a Gourmand Girls. Thunderdome is coming very soon, which is appropriate since Summerween just came out. So Gourmand Girls is on people's minds. So I'll have that coming out pretty soon. Lots of other fun stuff. And Angie and I are filming even more fun stuff, more doll content, countdown to Christmas, all kinds of. Yeah, I have to start thinking because it takes me so long. I should start thinking about my end of year content now. So that'll be on my noggin to start thinking about that. Thank you, everybody, for coming in. Let me see if I can remember my outro. It's dicey these days. Don't forget, if you are here in the chat, to circle back around once this becomes a video and leave me a comment. Help me feed the beast. Help me feed the algorithm. Replay crew, you know that you rock. You know we love and appreciate you. So leave your comments down below. Give me your vote. Barbie versus Trixie. Let me know what you think. While you are down there, don't forget that you can give me that thumbs up to tell me that you appreciated this video. Or if you are like, girl, you told us 40 minutes ago that you were wrapping up this live and you are still flapping your yap. What is going on? Stick to a schedule. You can give me that thumbs down. It is all engagement. The algorithm isn't a picky bitch, and neither am I. And while you're down there, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Become part of the Champagne Dream family. And hit that bell icon so you'll be notified each time I upload. I try really hard to make sure I have at least one video or live per week. When you consider lives, it's usually more than that. I've been going live 2, 3, 4 times a week. So lots of live content. And if you hit that bell icon, you'll always be told when it's happening. Make sure you switch it to all notifications. YouTube is always on its bullshit, so you may not get all of them. But if you hit that bell and make sure it's set to all, I try really hard to make sure I have at least one video or live per week. And sometimes, if you're lucky, if you're very lucky, you might even get a bonus video. Ooh, Revlon-orific. If you'd like to chat, banter, or commiserate between uploads, all of my social media will be linked down in the description box below, including a link to my website. Just pretend it's there, The World of Champagne at janessaj.com. Thank you so much for watching. I love and appreciate all of you. I had such a good time hanging out tonight. I hung out longer than I intended. I'm going to go home, make some food. I'm going to watch Days. I got to catch up on my stories. Mama Champagne already told me that Kristen is wearing something ridiculous. I'm very excited to see what it is. And until I see you all again,